Recording. All right. Hi, everyone. I am so glad you are here today, making time for you, fueling your parenting journey up and past diapers to potty independence. If we haven't met yet, my name is Erika Fraser, and I am here to dive into the nourishing, connection building, and wildly big self-growth side of parenthood with you. I'm a Southern Ontario mama who moved her graphic design and web design business to Toronto. I became enchanted with Montessori in early parenthood, and I'm now building a hub for families like you to thrive in early parenthood. Family rhythms, whole system thinking, learning pedagogy. I am bringing my background in design, education, and economics as I guide you through timeless and evidence-based practices to help you build a family that grows together and that you truly love being with. Together, we'll explore unexamined assumptions, slow down to notice the not so always obvious details, and deepen our practice of positive and intentional parenting so we can respond to our children prepared and renewed. As a parent, I know that having a supportive community with examples to follow is everything. So take a deep breath because you're in great company here. I want to take a moment to let you know that whether you are joining live or whether you're joining after with the recording, that the Diaper Free Summer team is here cheering you on, and we're all taking notes with you when you ask questions. Today is the day to bring your big questions because we are in the first workshop of the Diaper Free Summer. So that said, we have a lot to cover. Let's get started. Running through today's workshop, we are going to kick it off with a review of the method that we're going to be covering. We're going to go and look at what's inside the course. We're going to talk about some common truths that I want us to do a little exercise on and really get those sort of into the way that we're thinking. And then we're going to talk about how to use the course and see your progress. After that, we are going to do a little brainstorming exercise where we are going to start thinking about how to increase awareness in your household over the next week so that we are prepped for our workshop number 2. So talking about the method, I guess actually let's start about accessing your talk about accessing your course. So to get into your course, you're going to go to buenomarket.com. You're going to go into the top right corner. You're going to click account, and you're going to log in there. And once you log in, it's going to take you to a page saying welcome and access your courses. You'll click through there and find the Diaper Free Summer. You can access it anytime, 24 hours a day, and you have 1 year from your purchase time to access that. And if you need more time, let me know. Just send me an email, all right? The workshops that we're going to be running along with the Diaper Free Summer for this summer are going to be 6 weekly workshops here on Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock. They'll be on July 4th, 11th, 18th, 25th, and August 1st and 8th. After that, or anytime during July and August, you are welcome to book a one-on-one Ask Me Anything session to kind of dive into some of the little more nitty and gritty details that you're dealing with in your household. So the community. So here we are this is going to be the place where we gather, where we come and we bring our questions, take notes from each other, where we cheer each other on, and where we have some big laughs, because potty training is nothing but hilarious and a lot of really funny words and funny ways of putting things, but that's where the joy comes from, and that's what's going to make it easy for our little ones when we keep that humor. As we go through this, I want you to keep 3 pinky promises with me, because when we journey together, it's going to help us all thrive. So number 1, I want you to promise that you are not going to be overwhelmed. Take what serves you now, leave the rest behind. It'll always be here when you're ready to revisit it. Number 2, I want you to play, experiment, and laugh. This is a space where we can explore possibilities, do things differently, and enjoy the process. And I know we don't always hear that outside of this kind of community. So smile when you stumble and always try and keep things light. I also want you to commit. That 3rd thing is to keep searching for what works. So I know sometimes we can kind of get stuck in labeling or in drawing an early conclusion. Our children are so malleable and changing so quickly. So promise me that you'll keep searching for what works. If you are not getting the result that you want, if you are struggling with some aspect of it, keep trying, keep changing it up, keep coming back to us with some new thoughts and new trial and error, and we will figure it out together. This journey, picturing it as a journey, imagining yourself in this, where there's not really any ever landing point, but just this continuous improvement and evolving happening. is the greatest gift you can give your family and your future generations. So committing to these three pinky promises are really going to lead you to success, and also just be the greatest gift you can give your little ones and their future little ones. So as far as seeing progress goes, just know that potty training or potty independence, or even the bigger sort of journey, which is toileting independence, which kind of encompasses everything from newborn all the way through to your 5 or 6 year old who's fully independent, taking themselves to the toilet, and you don't even have to think about it anymore. And one day you will be there, so it's coming. It takes time. The younger you start, so if you're here with a baby toddler who's closer to 12 months old, it'll go slower, and that's okay. It's a beautiful thing, and that progress, in the same way that speech comes along, in the same way that walking and running comes along, they'll go at their own pace, but you're there to guide them all the way and support them. If you're coming to this with closer to a 2 year old, or maybe even after 2 years old, closer to 2.5, bordering on 3, things are going to go a lot quicker, especially if you've done a lot of prep ahead of time. Some of you I know are coming to this with a toddler who has used the potty before, who has started and stopped, and so on. So that's going to be a really different journey from the parents who are coming in at 12 months. But the beauty of this community is that we're all coming together, brainstorming together, and there's going to be a lot of learning that happens through the journey. So I want you to, as you're working through the course, take the time to complete the journal entries, write down your insights. You're going to want to review them later, or even after this course, or maybe even as funny little stories when they get older. Another way that you can see your progress, and it may feel really weird at the start, but it is to record yourself with your children. And keep recording until you're happy with what you see. And even after that, record just for the sake of it. Seeing yourself, your body language, your cues that you're giving them, your voice, your energy that you bring to these moments with your children, that's going to be your greatest teacher. It's something that I can't give you from over here. It's something that that you won't be able to have others give you. It's just you yourself in your moment with in that moment with your child. Seeing yourself is going to be one of the best teachers. Just gonna let Sarah in. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to the group. We are just running through seeing progress right now. So I'll let you catch up on the replay, but I'm going to continue along. Okay, so as I was just saying, that taking videos of yourself interacting with your child is going to be one of your greatest teachers. Moving on from there, play the long game always. We know children's skills don't develop linearly, which makes it even so much more important to measure progress over a long period of time. Moment to moment, what they say out loud, the way they react to us on an individual basis, those are not always indicators of how things are going, and we know that from when we're working through sleep or food or so on. So if you see glimpses of skills improving, amazing. Where's the trend going? Upwards. That's awesome. You're on the right track. Above all else, in this whole journey, protect your connection with your child. Give yourself permission to find the humor and joy in the process. And don't forget that we're here along with you. So that covers our journey. I want to take a moment to review this method with you, because I think it's really important that we are on board and sort of understanding what's behind all of this. And so when I was doing my research as a parent, I really found that there was such a range of information, and it was really about finding the methods that worked for my values. And knowing that you are here with me, it's likely that we have a lot of common values. We value communication, likely connection, learning opportunities. And when I sort of think of the differences between a parent who's using more coercive methods, doing a lot of giving treats, or doing prizes or things like that, versus allowing the lesson itself to be the joy in the actual process, it was really easy for me to separate out the methods that would work and not work for my family. And I wanted to bring together these kinds of methods, because I know there's such a big community of parents that are working on this more natural, intuitive, respectful, gentle, Montessori parenting approach. And so that's where this all really comes from. So when I look at the core aspects of this program that I put together, it really is centered around the parent and child trust and connection. So there is no coercion, there is no lying, there is no punishment. This is all about preserving that connection, making sure that that is first, making sure that all of the interactions are about building connection and trust. The other aspect of this is also your skill awareness, self-awareness, and skill building. So for them and for you. So as we work through this journey, we are going to be diving into ourselves. We are going to be learning more about our little ones, and we are going to talk about skill building both as parents and for them as children. We are going to prioritize structure. So structure is what helps us lead our little ones with confidence, and that is a big part of this program. And finally, the last aspect of this is freedom to make mistakes and own your progress. So that is a gift we can give our children, allow them to own their own mistakes, allow them to deal with consequences of their own choices in a really natural, non-punitive way. But also that's something that we can be modeling as well. So those are our 4 aspects of this program I really wanted to center around: parent-child trust and connection, self-awareness and skill building, structure so parents can lead their little ones with confidence, and freedom for our little ones and for ourselves to make mistakes and own our progress. In the lessons in the program, you are going to find core knowledge from Maria Montessori, Emmy Pickler, Magda Gerber, and there's so many other scientists and modern practitioners that are packed inside this course, combining neuroscience, psychology, and education pedagogy. We're going to be referencing studies from peer-reviewed journals. That is a really important aspect of this course for me, and motivation and fuel that drove it forward. We are going to be cross-referencing systems of practices like Montessori's method, respectful parenting, conscious parenting, elimination communication, and even permaculture. And I'm going to be giving you guys 20 years of combined parenting, design, and education experience packed into easy to use templates, and lessons that are short enough and bite-sized enough that you're going to be able to get through it in not too much time that it's going to take away from your actual journey in parenting with your child. So one of the exercises that I really wanted to do today was to talk about some common truths that are going to bring us together. And so for the parents that are joining here live, you are welcome as we do this exercise to unmute yourself and come in and join. You can chat in the comments if you prefer that. And for anybody who is joining afterwards, you are absolutely welcome to email me your responses to this, or add them into the comments on YouTube or where you'll see this posted. So the common truths that I wanted to go over today are really near and dear to my heart, but also as well, they are evidence and science-based. I think it's really important to bring these forward as affirmations. And so the exercise that I have for you, and you can do this yourself at home in the mirror, or you can record yourself. You are absolutely welcome to send it to me if it helps you feel connected to this community, or to share a video that you want to share with the rest of the community. It's all about your own journey in this process. But I'm going to run through these affirmations, and then and so you can repeat these yourself. They are in the course, and I will link you to them after this so that you have them in front of you. But as I go through all of them, I would offer you the chance to raise your hand, come on, or chat in the box any resistance that you feel to them. So if you have an experience that that comes up in the moment where you feel like, I feel this distance between what you're saying and what I'm feeling right now, I offer you to bring it forward, because I think it's really powerful to know that you're not the only one. So all of these were really hard won for me. They took a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of adjusting different areas of my life to make these feel really true. And so it'll be up to you how much you want to adopt them, but I do suggest bringing them into your practice, bringing them into your parenting, and then bringing them into this community. So I'm going to start with the first one. As I say them, you are welcome again, like I said, to offer a thought, or just put your hand up or let me know that you feel it, either resistance or you feel like you've gotten to the point where this is really true. So early parenting, early parenthood is a naturally occurring window of growth for adults. So let me know who's really feeling that. If you're feeling resistance to that, this is something that I have seen in the books where we talk about human development, as we're talking about our children developing through their milestones. As we get into adulthood, it's this level of maturity, emotional maturity, that comes during this phase of our lives in our 30s and 40s, maybe late 20s, if you're there, but that the acceleration that comes from having children is incredible. So anybody, if you would like to put forward that this really connects with you or really feels like something you would like to work towards feeling, let me know. And then I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, guys, there's 7. So that was the first. Number 2 are that all adults are nurturing and patient enough to grow with their children. I'll say that again, more directed at you. All of you are nurturing and patient enough to grow and teach your children, and that processing our own childhood wounds can more easily allow us to call on these innate abilities. So this is something that I have been exploring really deeply in my podcast publication, Raise in Place, that I've been writing for and recording podcast episodes for. But it's this idea that as we identify some part of ourselves that requires nurturing, we then increase our capacity to nurture others, and more specifically, our children. So if this really connected with you, take a moment. If you feel some resistance to that, notice that. I'll give you a moment and then we'll move on to the third. All right, guys. Number 3 is that children are naturally curious, self-motivated, and can concentrate on tasks that capture their interest. This goes back to the late 1800s and early 1900s discoveries that were happening around the time of Maria Montessori. There's a lot of work going on at that point, understanding how children learn. And it was thought that actually concentration at the time was could be developed. It actually turns out it just takes time as maturity comes along. Protecting their focus can help by allowing them to continue periods of concentration until their end. But this is a natural ability that children have and that matures and grows over time. So I'll give you a moment to just feel that, soak it in, and realize that our children are motivated to do this. Specifically for potty training, it starts at 12 months, and we near the end of the sensitive period, which doesn't mean it can't happen afterwards, but just it means that children have a particular interest in self-care, and specifically towards potty training, coming up to about 2.5 years, at which point they start to look for cooperation, and that fierce independence starts to disappear, and we start to see our child wanting to cooperate. And this is a natural part of their social development. But it means that potty independence can sometimes be a little bit more difficult to achieve at that point. And that's where we see a lot of parents using prizes and sticker charts and so on at that point. Because of that, because there's that cooperation aspect that your child is looking for. And so they substitute that with these other motivating tactics. All right, guys, moving on to the 4th out of 7. Children experience sensitive periods to specific stimuli, and it's important we recognize and capitalize in these windows of opportunities. So specifically talking about potty, I had just referred to that, but the idea of this is that it's our responsibility as adults to really capitalize, really pay attention to these, and help our children make these big leaps during this time. It's beneficial to them, beneficial to us, and it frees up space and snowballs into even greater skills and capability as they get older. And so that is why I am so passionate about this sort of this 12-month to 2.5-year range of bringing families together and really normalizing this really specific potty independent stage. All right, moving on to the fifth one. Humans learn best from hands-on experience. No matter the age, we should get messy and make mistakes. So this really comes from the idea that we need to develop the hand before we develop the mind. I forget who said that quote, but it doesn't relate to some of Maria Montessori's teachings, but it is actually in the evidence as well, that by developing the hands, the skills that the hands interface with in our world, it actually can help young ones feel calmer and less frustrated as they experience the world. So by doing tasks that relate to the children having a hands-on experience, opposed to being very sort of cerebral and conceptual about potty training, so allowing them to say fold their toilet paper, allowing them to pour the potty with our assistance, things like that, we're really going to accelerate their learning. And we shouldn't be afraid of that mess and mistakes. It's going to happen. It's going to be over before we know it. And their capabilities, skills, and confidence are just going to be through the roof because of it. All right, number 6, humans develop at their own pace. And it's important to respect and accommodate these differences in our children and ourselves. The reason this one is in here is because I really just want to pay attention to the fact that oftentimes as parents, we can have these expectations, especially with social media, especially when we're in daycare environments or preschool environments, where we're seeing other children around our children and doing these age comparisons. Our children are all unique. They're all working on something. The brain is always busy. And so, so it's really hard to make an apples to apples comparison. So just honoring that, recognizing it, and bringing that sense of respect and accommodation to our children is really going to make a big difference as we get ready for potty independence. The last one here is that humility sets the stage for growth and cooperation. So just remaining teachable and curious will allow our children to follow in our footsteps. So as we are approaching them, we are the ones that are modeling curiosity. We are the ones that are modeling mistakes are our teachers, that fear is our friend, that it's okay to face these things, that through support and through love, we can get through hard things. So I really want to make sure that we're bringing that to this as well. So take some time with them. This is actually what I think is the hard work. This is the deep work. This is what's really going to get us prepared for potty independence. The potty independence journey is the easy part. It is the part that is a solved problem. It is a journey. It is a process. It is set out, and all it needs is for us to be patient and follow along, honoring our children. So now that we've done our exercises, I wanted to have a little time to brainstorm getting ready for potty independence. So this is where I'm going to call on the community that's here today. I would like you guys to come forward with any ideas you have for where your child currently is, and perhaps some of the areas of independence that you see them working on right now. It can be, I'm going to actually pull up from the course. If you guys just give me a moment, I'm going to pull up our areas of independence. Will I give you guys a moment to just think about where your children are at and what they're currently working on? Okay, so if we're looking at toileting, a really, and I said at the beginning of this workshop, we're going to be looking at really breaking this down into those sort of all not so obvious steps. There are a lot of steps our children are going to have to learn in order to get to full toileting independence. Right now, we're focusing on potty independence. So that little skill set that we're focusing on is recognizing the sensations in their body, and I'll share this with you guys afterwards, but recognize the sensation of needing to go, and that's different for pees and different for poos, but recognizing that sensation, moving themselves. So if we're talking about children who have just learned how to walk or are still working on that, or are, you know, have moved on to other skills and are starting to stumble again in their walking, that can be a really big thing. So getting themselves to a potty, pulling their pants down, using their pincer grips, their coordination and balance to pull their pants down, balancing themselves to sit and squat on the potty, then having that moment of release and trust, acceptance of the sensations and sounds that they're hearing, the recognition that they're done, pulling then their pants up, because at this point, we can start to talk about wiping, but at the beginning, it might just be easier for your little ones to just go and pull up, and then you just change underwear a couple times a day. You'll build these skills in as you go. So assuming that we're not going to deal with wiping right now, or we're going to deal with maybe like a single tissue tap and put in potty, they're going to do that, and then they have to actually use those hands to pull back up their pants. That's a big skill and a lot of strength that it takes. And then we're going to deal with the whatever's in the potty. So whether that's that we just make the rule of the house that they leave it, or that their mom or dad or caretaker helps them dump it. And then there's washing hands, and that in itself is a whole process. So stepping up to the sink, turning water on, getting soap, rubbing, rinsing, and drying. So there's so many steps that are involved in this, and we think about this as a task. If we were adults coming to this, it would feel overwhelming. So I hope that gives you a little bit of time to think, guys, who are here live. And I know we have busy parents, and I know that some of you are putting little ones to bed, or, we've had parents joining who are folding laundry, all of the important stuff that you really need to get done in your day. So no pressure to join in, but if you would like to come on and share sort of where your child's at, and maybe one of the skills in the next few days that you would like to focus on out of that range of skills that I talked about, let you have a moment there. Feel free to interrupt me. And if not, that's okay. I'm just going to pick out a couple that we're going to start with here, and just to I'm going to jot them down so that we can chat through them and maybe have a couple thoughts about that.
So I can chime in.
Yeah, awesome.
So my little guy, Oakland, he is just over 2 years old. And I've sort of not forced him, but started his potty training process for him, in a sense that I told him that it's time to go pee-pee in the potty, just like his big brother does. And he's been fairly receptive to it. But I think he's still working through some of the emotional strains of that, where he will feel like he has to go pee and he's uncomfortable, but he doesn't want to go pee on the potty for whatever reason. Maybe he's, into playing whatever he's playing, or he's having fun or watching TV or something, and he has to go pee, but he doesn't want to stop what he's doing. And he gets quite emotional when I try to make him go pee-pee on the potty, and he doesn't want to. So it's like working through, I guess, that his emotional side of being like, no, but it actually feels good. And then you can go back to playing with what you're playing, but you have to go pee-pee when you have to go pee-pee. Don't hold it.
Such a good point.
It's funny when he poops, because we still haven't gotten to the poop stage of it. He'll poop in his diaper still, but then he doesn't want to change it yet either. So we sort of play a bit of a game with that, where it's the same thing. Like, he doesn't want to stop what he's doing, but if he brings like a friend, which was like a toy car or something, to the bathroom, he'll come willingly, as long as he can bring something with him that he's doing. So we sort of, I guess, have a bit of a deal going there with that, which seems to kind of help. He has like his emotional support toys.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that's so great. You know what I love is that you recognize that actually there's like multiple things going on. I think that's such a critical thing to do because it's like we have the emotions going on, we have the sensations that he's feeling happening, and then we have sort of his like his tactics that are sort of like that play into his personality. And so I think if you even just picked one of those things to focus on, even over the next few days, or if you want to go even into the next week, and just said, you know what, Oakland, we're not even going to talk about actually going to the potty, but we're just going to focus on recognizing those feelings and like really praising him for it and making him feel really good about the fact that he noticed that there's a pee or a poo in his diaper.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the other thing that you could also do as well is to make it less feel less good to go in the diaper. So absorbent diapers, and like we talk about this a little bit in the course, and we'll really get into this next week, but absorbent diapers can become a source of comfort for little ones because they're so moisture wicking that all they feel is the warmth. And the poops can also kind of be that way, right? Like they sit and they're warm and they're squishy for a bit until they don't feel
Yes.
great. And so I think if this week you just went, you know what, I'm going to take the pressure off for a little bit, what you did with like deciding that he was going to be done with diapers or that he was going to move to into potty independence is like half of the mindset you need to get to. And we'll talk about that more next week, where we're going to create structure for our little ones, because without structure, they will flip flop. It's like,
Yeah. And
you
I
know,
sort of did that.
yeah,
Sorry, I'll interrupt you again.
yeah,
I've sort of done that.
yeah,
So, especially in the
yeah,
mornings or after naps, right?
yeah,
Instead of being like, okay, okay, it's time to go pee pee, I'm
yeah,
like, okay, you're awake. And I will take his pants down and take his diaper off
yeah,
and put him on the potty. And it's like, I'm not
yeah,
even going to give him that sort of option or thought of not going on the
yeah,
potty. It's just something that we
yeah,
all just do. We just go pee when we wake up. And
yeah,
that's it. Because he will do that too when he wakes up, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go make a pee pee on the potty. And
yeah.
he's very emotional about it still.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot going on. Like I know in your house, you have a new baby and you have these other things. So I think there might be some digging in that you and I can do. And like maybe we can do that on our one-on-one session, where we can talk a bit about on like the emotional side and supporting him. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I guess my question, well, maybe before I get into it, I'll give you a bit of background. We've been back and forth for a while now. I would say she's 99% there finally.
so close.
There were a lot of factors. I think her daycare wasn't exactly helping, and I think the
Yeah,
fact that she was the oldest kid in her daycare, just I don't know, part of it, I think her personality too. I was relating to the previous lady's comment that she, for a while, like no matter what we did, she was just being stubborn. She just
yeah,
she didn't want to have anything to do with potty, whether we asked her to sit or her
yeah,
teachers. So she had to be mentally, like, for whatever she was going through, she had to be
yeah,
ready, like, and it had to be at her own will. Like, she hated if we put her down on the potty. She has
yeah,
to sit herself.
yes.
So we never
So
tried to
key.
force it. Yeah, so that phase went away. And now she's so good. Like, he's even, we're out, let's say, like, we're driving, we still put on a diaper on her, especially if we're going to someone else's house and stuff, but she doesn't pee in it. Like, she'll tell us, like, we'll either hold her if it's like complete, like if it's out in the park, I just literally hold her behind the tree or whatnot. So
Yeah,
even though she has a
so
diaper,
good.
she'll tell me with number one and two, but the 1% that she has accidents, it just like really throws us off because
Yeah,
it's like um she's still not, she knows she has to do this, she and like
yeah,
understands the steps, but she still she doesn't find it yucky, and that's something I don't know if I just have to wait for her to get, like, I don't want to um sort of turn into a shame, like, by saying, oh,
yeah,
it's gross, so she's thinking she's creating some, I don't know how she thinks at this
yeah. Oh,
stage.
that's so good
So
that you're bringing that up because I think that that last like 1% you're saying where it's just those
mhm,
accidents and then how to work through them. So number one, I mean the great news is that actually those accidents are totally expected and normal and actually good because they're reinforcing and they're reinforcing her learning. So in the same way that like we walk upstairs all the time, but
mhm,
every once in a while when we're not paying attention or our mind's elsewhere, we trip a little bit and we go, "Oh shoot, I do actually need to pay a little bit closer attention." So accidents
Right.
are a good thing. So letting us just like sit in that and kind of change our perspective around accidents, to being good, reinforcing the learning, giving her a chance to, because they need that reminder, right? Like that's
Right.
something
Right.
that they should pay attention to, in the same way that when they bump something sharp, or like we said, trip or fall, or can't say what they want to say, it draws their brain back to it. So
Right. Right. But,
it's great, and it will naturally go away.
but why
um
is she
yeah,
not bothered by it? I think that
so
kind of throws us off. Like if she spills
yeah,
water, if she knows she just, like does something that's out of the ordinary, she just
yeah,
notices, oh, something. But this, it just
yeah.
like she just drops a log, and it's like what?
Yes. Exactly. So that's also totally normal and natural and expected. So little children don't have a sense of hygiene yet. And actually it's
Uh,
through their learning and through their interactions with us that they start to learn what hygiene is. So that's a process that takes a little bit more time.
yeah, right.
They just don't understand, like they have no sense of bacteria and sickness and so on. And it's up to us to teach them. So so actually maybe for you, Sienna, the focus that you want to have over the next little while with her might actually be on building her capacity, to understand when something is not safe for her or dirty for her. And so you can start to play some games, and do some wordplay and some other things that kind of teach her about, things that are, non-hygienic and hygienic. So, and we can dig into some of those
Mm-hmm.
next week. Like now that you're telling
Okay.
me about it, that's perfect. I'll bring it to the group next week, because I think everybody's going to want to they're going to have to get to this anyways at some
Yeah,
point. This is kind
yeah.
of like the advanced skill, right? Like, and then it will also naturally come from, so as she sort of gets closer to like 3 4 and then beyond that, the social aspect is really going to start to come into play. So
Mm-hmm.
so she will naturally, because that, like, the children get conditioned based on who they're around and what they see, right? Like that their culture shapes them. And so when they see that other adults and other children like to be clean, they're naturally going to want to be clean. When they see that other adults and children don't want to touch poo, they naturally won't. But she's sort of still like, how old is she now?
2 and 2 months, I guess, 20,
Yeah.
26 months, yeah.
Yeah, so she's like on the early side. We'll dig into the sensitive periods, but she's on the earlier side, like she's under 3, and so that social aspect really hasn't kicked in yet for her. So really, what you're sort of depending on at this point is the repeat interaction with mom and dad or other close caregivers. So like you could be using books, you could be using videos, you could, yeah, and then you and your partner or friends can mimic, situations on your own, or even just use your real life situations and just bring them up forward to her. So like, for example, nobody likes to talk about it, but you're like, sometimes you wipe and then you feel pee on your hand, but we just don't talk about that. And you go, I really need to
Yeah,
wash my hands. So it's these internal dialogues we're having with ourselves that we sometimes don't think to bring to our kids.
yeah,
So
that's a good point. Yeah,
yeah,
actually.
so stating it and saying, "Oh, I went pee and I touched pee. Now I need to wash my hands. My hands are dirty." And then you go and you wash them, and then you look at your hands after and you say, "They feel so nice and clean. Look, they smell clean. Look, they're not
Yeah,
sticky," or whatever the case is.
funny you should say that. Actually, maybe I should use the smell thing because she has these blankets that I think I've told you she's so attached to them, and we have two of
Mm.
them. She's figured out there's two of them, and she wants both of them at the same time. So when I try to tell her one is dirty, I'm trying to wash it, she just still
Yeah.
doesn't get it. She was like losing her mind. Then I actually mentioned the smell. I'm like, ah, yucky smell. And I started making
Ah.
these faces, and then she found it
Yeah.
funny, and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she connected with that. The smell, I think, is
Yeah.
something that she got. Then she finally let go. And today, when I gave her the clean
Yay.
blanket, I told her it smells good, it smells. So yeah, maybe I can
Yeah.
use the smell thing connected to the poo situation as well.
That's so good. That's such a good thing. Yeah, finding those things that hit. And then when we're talking about, like, because you and Vanessa both have toddlers, like if we're talking about, 12 months or 18-month olds, the humor part doesn't play in yet. Like they're still so focused on acquiring language, that they're not playing with language yet. But at 2 years
Right.
old, they are starting to. So they love things that make them laugh, and showing them that you can be light and funny, but also take things seriously and do what you need to do. It's like, we do this
Yeah.
because we have to do it, and then you just go ahead and do it. That's like,
Yeah.
yeah, showing them that over again. That's great. So I love that, connecting it to the laundry, and then you could connect it to her pants at the end of the day, and saying like, oh, like they touch your, depending on the language you use with her, like we use really scientific language, so like they touch your vulva or your penis, and they touch your anus, and so we need to wash them. And showing, like, we
Mm-hmm.
always like look for little dirty bits, like, oh, can you see something dirty, can you find something on it? And then the smell is always is a great one to go for. So
Yeah. That
yeah,
one they can connect
all
and
the all the
understand.
senses. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
could even, I know sometimes we like shy away from being like too sort of like real or in touch with the products of bathroom. But like you could even do things like, I know, I was with my sister the other day, and her little guy, like, he pooped in his diaper, and we wanted to show that like the bum is dirty, but he can't look at his own bum. So I wiped him and then showed him that his bum is dirty, right? And then
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
he didn't he didn't want to wash his bum. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to force him to, because I'm his auntie. So I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
let's go to mommy and show her that your bum is dirty. And we brought the tissue, and he was like, dirty. And then she said, okay, you need
Uh-huh.
to wash. And then he let me go wash him. So like
Oh yeah.
sometimes like those visual or like the sensorial,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
can really play. So even if you did things like, after she makes a pee, you can smell it and say like, that's dirty, and that's why we put it. You can connect it to the fact that we say bye-bye, we put it away because it's dirty and we don't want to get sick,
Right.
and you can relate it to that. Yeah, and you can stories are a great way as well. So relating it to other stories. I don't know,
But
in
then
daycares, there's
uh,
always the
the-
kids like, yeah,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
But how
saying.
do I make sure it doesn't go to the other sort of territory of like shame? Like, oh, I made like this is dirty. You know what I mean? Because she
Yeah,
seems so sensitive about that too. Like, I don't want her
yeah.
to think she produced this like thing, and
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think like a big thing with shame is that it's a characteristic of you and not a thing that's like outside of you, right? So
mm-hmm.
you just keeping it natural. It's normal. Everybody makes pees and poos, but we want to get rid of it so quickly, so it's like it goes out, and we put it away, and you can talk about the birds do the same thing, and the animals do the same thing.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
Mommy, daddy do the same thing.
mommy do the
Okay, yeah.
same. Yeah. So normalizing, I think when we talk about shame, it's like, okay, the opposite, the antidote to shame is normalizing, and then not ever making it personal. So just sticking to the facts. Just,
Right.
yeah, just that it's factual. Your facial expressions are, you know, not, you don't have to be overly joyful, but not overly like, it's disgusting, it's so dirty, right? Like you want to be sort of
Yeah,
neutral, like,
yeah.
it's dirty, we don't want it to touch our bodies, so we put it away quickly, and
Mm-hmm.
then move on, so that they understand. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay. No, these are all great points. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
amazing. Okay, so
amazing.
we'll wrap it up. I'm going to share this with our group. For everybody who is joining afterwards, I know there were some people that were joining in to kind of get a sense of the Diaper Free Summer and what we'll be doing. This is our introduction into it. We are really going to be diving into the dirty little details. Like today was sort of big questions, but next few weeks we're going to be getting into real finite, all those little details that you really want to know about, the hows and so on. And parents are going to start to be practicing. So there's going to be a lot more room for discussion, and we're going to see how it goes. Like we might need to even add in a couple of sessions of just discussion, community discussion. So let's see how the next few weeks go. For those who are considering joining us, I hope that you will. It's going to be an amazing journey for all of us. I love doing this work. I love empowering parents and families to get through up and above and beyond this milestone. So I hope that you'll join us. For those of you who couldn't make it today, there's my husband. For those of you who couldn't make it today, I so wish you could have been here, but I totally understand that life happens. So join in when you can. And hopefully we'll see you together next week again. All right, guys, we'll see you next
Awesome.
week.
Thank
Bye.
you.